Ever wondered how to push your computer's performance to the limit? Today, we will explore advanced overclocking techniques that can help you do just that. From the icy thrill of liquid nitrogen cooling, which rapidly cools your processor to incredibly low temperatures, to the precise art of CPU delidding, where you apply cooling directly to the processor's die. We'll delve into voltage modification with Voltmod, tweaking your motherboard to push beyond default limits, and explore the realm of extreme RAM frequency overclocking, pushing your memory modules beyond their specified limits. We'll discuss the intricacies of custom BIOS modification, creating custom liquid cooling systems, system bus overclocking, multiplicative CPU overclocking, and memory timing modification. Finally, we'll take a look at extreme overclocking tools, specialized software that can push your CPU and GPU to their absolute limit. Remember, these are advanced techniques and not without risks. So proceed with caution. Ready to dive deeper? Let's begin with our first technique. Starting with the coolest of all techniques, liquid nitrogen cooling, or LN2. This method is quite literally a chill ride. It involves using liquid nitrogen, a substance so cold it makes winter look like a beach vacation, to drastically reduce the temperature of your processor. The result? A supercooled system that can handle extreme overclocking. But before you rush out to buy a vat of liquid nitrogen, know this. LN2 cooling isn't a walk in the park. It requires specialized equipment to handle the nitrogen and to protect your components from the extreme cold. It also demands advanced skills to use it safely and effectively. One wrong move, and you could end up with a fried processor, or worse. So LN2 is a technique for those who truly want to push the boundaries, who thirst for that extra performance edge. Remember, LN2 is not for the faint-hearted. It's a high-risk, high-reward technique. Moving on, ever heard of CPU delidding? It's a bit like performing open-heart surgery on your processor. The idea is to remove the metal lid, also known as the integrated heat spreader, or IHS, from the processor. Why, you ask? To apply cooling directly to the die, the heart of the CPU, where all the magic happens? Now, delidding can potentially reduce temperatures, offering a cooler, more efficient performance. Sounds good, right? But hold your horses. This technique isn't for the faint of heart. It's risky business. One wrong move, and you could end up with a dead processor. Plus, there's the warranty to consider. Most manufacturers aren't too keen on customers tinkering with their products. So, if you decide to go down the delidding route, you're likely waving goodbye to your warranty. Delidding can give you more cool for your CPU, but remember, it's not without its risks. For our third technique, we have voltage modification with Voltmod. Now, this isn't your everyday overclocking method. It's like the Wild West of modifications, where we physically alter the motherboard to push voltage beyond default limits. This isn't child's play, folks. You need a solid understanding of electronics to even consider this. Think of Voltmod like a high-stakes poker game. You're upping the ante, pushing the boundaries of what your hardware can handle. The rewards? Higher performance, more power, and the satisfaction of knowing you've taken your rig to its absolute limit. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Incorrectly modifying your motherboard can lead to permanent damage, so it's crucial to know what you're doing. If you're not comfortable playing around with the heart of your computer, then this technique might not be for you. Voltmod can take your overclocking game to the next level, but it's not for the uninitiated. Next up, we have extreme RAM frequency overclocking. This is all about pushing your system's memory speed beyond its factory-set boundaries. But remember, this isn't for the faint-hearted. It calls for top-notch memory modules and a motherboard that can keep up with all that pace. The process starts by venturing into your system's BIOS to tweak memory settings. You're essentially turning up the dial on your RAM's frequency, making it work harder and faster. But be warned, this isn't a guessing game. You need to know your hardware's limitations, or you could end up with a fried motherboard. It's also crucial to keep an eye on system stability. Overclocking can lead to unexpected system crashes if not done correctly, so take it slow. Test, tweak, test again. Extreme RAM frequency overclocking can give your system a major boost, but it's not a walk in the park. Now, let's talk about custom BIOS usage. The BIOS, or Basic Input-Output System, is the backbone of your system, the gatekeeper, if you will. It's the first software your PC runs when you switch it on, and it's responsible for initializing your hardware and booting your operating system. But what if we told you that you could sway this gatekeeper to your advantage? Enter custom BIOS usage. This is the practice of modifying your BIOS to access overclocking options that aren't available in standard versions. Sounds exciting, right? But hold your horses. This practice isn't for the faint-hearted. It requires advanced skills and a good understanding of your system's architecture. One wrong move and you could turn your PC into an expensive paperweight. So, always ensure you're well-versed with the process and the risks involved before you dive in. Custom BIOS usage can unlock new possibilities, but it requires advanced skills. Next, we'll delve into custom liquid cooling. This technique is a step up from your standard cooling solutions, allowing for better control over your system's temperatures. It involves designing and implementing a unique cooling system specifically tailored to your processor and other crucial components. Now, creating a custom liquid cooling system isn't an endeavor for the faint-hearted. It demands advanced modding skills and a keen eye for circuit design. You'll need to map out your system, identify the hottest spots, and figure out how to route the cooling liquid effectively. The goal here is to achieve optimal heat dissipation while maintaining aesthetic appeal. It's like crafting a piece of functional art within your PC case. But remember, while the rewards can be significant, so too are the risks. A poorly executed custom liquid cooling system can lead to leaks, which could spell disaster for your hardware. Custom liquid cooling can help you reach new overclocking heights, but it requires careful planning and execution. Up next, we have system bus overclocking, or BCLK overclocking. This technique is all about amping up the frequency of your system bus. Now, you might be wondering, why would you want to do that? Well, by increasing the BCLK frequency, you're essentially pushing your processor to work harder and faster, which could lead to a more aggressive overclock. But with great power comes great responsibility. A higher BCLK frequency can impact your system's stability. It's like operating an engine at high RPMs. Sure, you're going faster, but it puts more strain on the engine. Similarly, a higher BCLK frequency can put more strain on your system's components. This means that you'll need to keep a close eye on your system's performance and stability. You will also need to manage your peripherals carefully, as they can be affected by changes in the system bus frequency. BCLK overclocking can give your system a significant performance boost, but it requires careful management. Almost there. Now let's discuss multiplicative CPU overclocking. This method is the epitome of overclocking, pushing your processor's performance to the extreme. It involves simultaneously increasing the multiplier and base frequency of the processor. It's a bit like doubling down on your processor's speed, but it's a delicate balancing act. You see, increasing the multiplier amplifies the processor's base frequency, while adjusting the base frequency itself enhances the clock speed even further. It's like adding an extra gear to a race car, but it needs to be done with precision. However, this practice is not without its challenges. It demands advanced cooling solutions, as the heat generated can be substantial. A high-quality motherboard is also crucial, as it needs to withstand the increased power and manage the accelerated processing speed. Remember, this technique is not for novices. It's akin to high-stakes poker, where knowledge, skill, and a dash of daring can lead to impressive payoffs. Multiplicative CPU overclocking can push your processor to its limits, but it's not for the faint-hearted. Next on the list, we have memory timing modification. This technique is like tuning a fine instrument, delicately adjusting the parameters to get the most out of your RAM. So, what does this involve? Well, it entails manually altering the latency timings of your memory modules. These timings dictate the speed at which data is read, written, and refreshed within your system's memory. Now, don't be fooled. This process is not as simple as cranking up a dial. Each adjustment must be meticulously calculated, requiring a comprehensive understanding of memory parameters. It's like a complex dance, where every step, every turn, every pause matters. One misstep could lead to system instability or even hardware damage. But when executed correctly, the reward is significant. You can optimize your system's performance, making it quicker and more efficient. Memory timing modification can give your RAM a performance boost, but it requires a deep understanding of memory parameters. Finally, we have extreme overclocking tools. Usage. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road in the world of overclocking. Specialized software is used to dial up the performance of the CPU and GPU to the absolute max. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. These extreme overclocking tools are not for the faint of heart. They demand a keen eye for system stability and an uncompromising commitment to cooling. Overclocking can generate a lot of heat, and without adequate cooling, you risk frying your hardware. Imagine pushing a sports car to its top speed without a functioning cooling system. It's not going to end well, but when done right, these tools can help you unlock the full potential of your system. They can take your gaming experience to new heights or give your video editing software that extra bit of oomph. Extreme overclocking tools can help you push your system to its limits, but they require careful monitoring and management. And there you have it, 10 advanced overclocking techniques to push your computer's performance to the limit. From liquid nitrogen cooling, which rapidly cools the processor, to CPU delidding, where you remove the metal lid from the processor to apply cooling directly to the die. We've also discussed voltage modification with Voltmod, a technique that allows you to adjust voltage beyond default limits, and extreme RAM frequency overclocking, where you can increase the RAM frequency beyond the manufacturer's specifications. Let's not forget custom BIOS usage, custom liquid cooling, system bus overclocking, multiplicative CPU overclocking, memory timing modification, and the use of extreme overclocking tools. Each method is a testament to the lengths we can go to optimize our systems for peak performance. But remember, these techniques are advanced and may involve risks. Before attempting any extreme overclocking, ensure you understand the implications and consider consulting industry experts. Until next time, keep pushing those limits.